I think the next 3 4 at least 3 weeks were I had sleepless nights, and I was researching the topic, every aspect of it, NASA fakery, all kinds of videos for 2 3 weeks. And at the end of 2 3 weeks, I was like sure that it is not a spinning globe, and we have been right about a lot of things. I may not know what it actually is. I would not be comfortable with the tag of flat earther, but I'm sure that we have been lied to, and everything now makes sense. Everything about aliens and things I have been researching for the past 1 or 2 years now made sense, because I kind of got the final piece of the puzzle with this flat earth. Obviously, that does not make the whole picture clear, because flat earth is just the tip of the iceberg, like I always say. Still, that within that period of 2 3 weeks where I looked into a lot of things, I cannot really pinpoint one single thing that made me go over the edge, literally. So, other than that, the cognitive dissonance used to kick in months after I was completely sure that the earth is flat. And that was when, I think it was in May of 2018, some 3 years ago, that I finally went public on Facebook and made a fool of myself in front of the world by admitting that if I were to remain silent, I would be guilty of complicity, which is why I am having to tell you that the earth is fucking flat and stationary.
The earth isn't round, it's flat. How do you know? I've observed it in all my travels over Europe. It's flat. Everywhere it's flat.
Naveen, you haven't spoken for a long time. Your 2 cents, please.
Oh no, it's nice listening to everyone here. No, I actually wanted to know, like, is there anyone here who's still on the fence? Because we are talking about other lands and other possibilities, right? This is something you can discuss with the flat earther. But if you're a globe earther, like if you're sure that we live on a ball going on the sun, then we can probably debate. But if is there anyone who's like on the fence? So you can ask your questions. Maybe like what exactly is confusing, like which part of this, see
Yes,
is kind of you don't understand fully. So maybe uh, few of us can maybe
very
con.
nice. Aniket, you are the only one here, I think, and maybe Saurabh has some questions, not exactly regarding flat earth, but many other questions from other fields. So, evolution, coronavirus, all kinds of questions you can ask. But, Aniket, regarding flat earth, because you are still on the fence on the subject of flat earth, any questions that you want to know the answers from all of us?
What was the first point you ever see that Earth is flat? Means when you discovered
I'm sorry, dude. Like you mean what was the first thing that made any of us like assume
flat
that?
Earth. Uh,
So personally, I mean, I saw the videos where they attempt again. They're telling you that the Earth is not curved because they've taken a balloon or they've gone really high up in the sky, and the horizon rises to the eye level on all sides. So if you're on a ball, no matter how big it is, like when you keep going up, at some point when you're looking around you, at every point around you, it should be like declining. The horizon should be somewhat declining, right, at some point. So when they took a hot air balloon and took it way up, it just kept showing a flat horizon on all sides. Basically, the horizon kept rising to the eye level. So people were like, "Where is the curvature?" This was a question, like kind of a gag that was running a couple of years back. Where is the curvature? Where is the curvature? So they say, according to the modern astronomy, the Earth has a circumference of 25,000 miles. Okay, so you can convert that to kilometers if you want. So basically, if you do the Pythagorean theorem, I'm not very good in math actually. I see this from a more common sense point of view. I'm not very that good in math. I'll be sure the others were much better. If you take their own measurements and if you try to figure out the curvature, you should be able to see a decent amount of curvature at say 50,000 feet. So commercial airliners fly at around 35,000 to 40,000, 45,000, around this range. Okay, so they say it's not high enough. Fine. Um, but there was a a hot air balloon that went up. It was by this YouTube channel called Dog Cam Sport. They didn't do it to prove the Earth was flat. No, they just wanted to show how great their camera was in really high altitude. So they just put it on a hot air balloon and they shot it up around 120,000 feet. When it was around 120,000 feet, people could, what they could saw? They saw that the horizon was eye level. There was no curve, and the sun was basically casting like a hot spot over the Earth. It was giving the impression that it's close by. So this really became like everyone started like freaking out, like, whoa, what is this? What are we seeing? there are explanations for this. I'm sure. The whole idea of this reality. When it comes to the Matrix, is the whole idea is that the illusion was the truth. That the truth is one thing, and then there are illusion makers who are basically the people you're talking about, the highest levels. Their job is to basically keep the illusion going, whichever is not true. Now, they're saying that you live on a ball of 25,000 miles, and it's going around the sun, and people are questioning this. So they just have taken the position that what they're saying is not true, and either the opposite of what they're saying or something different from what they're saying is true. Now, this is what most people assume. And anyway, long story short, the first things that made people, I mean, at least me, about the Earth being flat was one, the fact that from a common sense point of view, I can't feel any motion. Okay, yeah, you may say that there will be small creatures on a big ball, fine. But the way I look at the sky and the way I see it happening, it seemed like the Earth. It felt like the Earth is motionless. So this is where it began for me. I felt like the Earth is not moving and the skies are moving constantly. So this was the first thing that made me start questioning. Like I said in the beginning, it all comes down to experiments at the end of the day. So you want to know, I think, like, how do I prove that this is flat, right? Right? We can.
No, Naveen, actually, I don't think so. So he is already looking into the different aspects of flat Earth, and I am educating him to whatever extent I can. But what he's actually asking is, what is that tipping point? What is that one single thing that makes you go like, yes, now I'm sure that the Earth is 100% flat? So my answer to that, my response to that would be, कि in my case it also started somewhere around 2016 2017 when I started looking into all kinds of conspiracy theories. And I also wanted to know it from you guys, Naveen and Vogue Chika, because I know about others, that was there a friend of you who told you about flat earth, or did you stumble upon it on your own? So you please answer that later on, but I would like to say that uh, I was already looking deep into all these conspiracies, and all of a sudden there was this one time that YouTube started suggesting me videos on flat earth, and I had the same knee jerk reaction that people here are crazy and they are ruining the whole truth movement. But then one day I used to be a fan of David Icke, and David Icke in one of his 10-hour long seminars talked about flat earth, just brought up the topic of flat earth, and he just said that, well, if you listen to them, they also make a lot of sense. So that was a point that made me look into the subject, कि चलो एक वीडियो देख लेते हैं, it will be so easy to debunk it. And I think the next 3 4 at least 3 weeks were, I had sleepless nights, and I was researching the topic, every aspect of it, NASA fakery, all kinds of videos for 2 3 weeks. And at the end of 2 3 weeks, I was like sure that it is not a spinning globe, and we have been lied about a lot of things. I may not know what it actually is. I would not be comfortable with the tag of flat earther, but I'm sure that we have been lied to, and everything now makes sense. Everything about aliens and things I have been researching for the past 1 or 2 years now made sense, because I kind of got the final piece of the puzzle with this flat earth. Obviously that does not make the whole picture clear, because flat earth is just the tip of the iceberg, like I always say. Still, that within that period of 2 3 weeks where I looked into a lot of things, I cannot really pinpoint one single thing that made me go over the edge literally. So other than that, the cognitive dissonance used to kick in months after I was completely sure that the earth is flat. And that was when, I think it was in May of 2018, some 3 years ago, that I finally went public on Facebook and made a fool of myself in front of the world by admitting that if I were to remain silent, I would be guilty of complicity, which is why I am having to tell you that the earth is fucking flat and stationary.
So I'll just add something to this. Uh, to this concept of flat Earth, I was introduced by Tapas. Okay, and also we had heated discussions over this as well. But
Tapas would be me. Hello, Arthur is Tapas.
Tapas is answer. Yeah. So by the way, yeah. So when talking about tipping point, and it took me my own sweet time to realize this, but tipping point, I mean, I would define tipping point as when I started to think that things are not really what we are told, and probably I should research a bit. And again, I am a flat earther. I believe in that, but I cannot explain a lot of phenomena. But yeah, the that tipping point that came to me only after when I read that Earth rotates at 1,000 miles per hour. That is bloody 1,600 kilometers per hour. भाई ये नहीं हो सकता. This is not true.
That's really crazy, dude. And
Yes,
that's the thing
this
about
is
it.
not true. That
We
was the exact tipping point for me, and
we
after
are
that, I started digging deep.
we are not taught about so many things in our schools, things which do not make sense when you look deeper into them, which is why so conveniently they just don't teach us that thing. They never talk about the curvature of the earth. 8 inches per mile squared is something that I learned when I was 27 years old and I became a flat earther, and I hadn't heard about that thing for in my entire life, right? So it's crazy,
Yeah.
but for most of the people that I have talked to, their tipping point comes with the concept of vacuum next to gas pressure. That's an impossibility, and it is so easy to explain also because you use all scientific terms in order to explain that it violates the second law of thermodynamics and everything, entropy law. You throw all these high-fundu words and all of them make sense. You just have to build your own grasp over those concepts, but it is so easy to understand. Even a sixth grader can understand that it is an impossibility that we have a pressurized atmosphere right next to the absolute near vacuum of space. That's an impossibility. So many of the people that my friends, uh, whom I have been able to convert to flat earth, they tell me that that was their tipping point, vacuum next to gas pressure.
Yeah, and I think just to back up what Tapas is saying, I think this borrows from what I was earlier saying about the education system. Even if you see the problem is that the students are not exposed to the various philosophies and the various cosmologies that the ancient cultures used to depict. Okay, and this concept of vacuum and pressurized system was discussed with Aristotle in Greek philosophy. It was it all these topics were discussed thoroughly in in those days, and this is also mentioned in the ancient philosophies of Greece and of Babylonia. Of you take any ancient cultures, the Aztecs, the Mayans. That's the problem. You see, the students are not exposed to these alternative ideas and philosophies, and they're just exposed to one particular narrative since childhood. And that is why if something out of the ordinary comes out, they suddenly they can't handle it because of all the investment that they've made all these years in the system. And that is what psychologically is the the blockage for many other students. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, so Aniket, you have some other questions, you can please.
What are your opinion about hollow earther as a flat earther?